Hi, welcome everybody. Welcome to the panel today. Why don't please starting from here, introduce yourself first very briefly about me. My name is Nag, founder and CEO of G20 Group, investment and trading firm based out of Zurich, Switzerland. Background in PhD in machine learning and AI. Really privileged to be here. Please, over to you.
Hey guys, I'm Chi. I'm the co-founder and the CEO of Kite AI and ZettaBlock Labs. So a little bit about myself. I did my PhD from UC Berkeley, focused on machine learning and causal inference. And after that, started automated machine learning platform startup with a few friends. And then realized data is actually the biggest bottleneck in industry for real AI adoption. Then joined Databricks, lead the data engineering solutions there as a product management lead. And now ZettaBlock or Kite AI is building an open composable foundation that democratizes AI via enabling accessible, secure, and scalable access to data and model. And as a base layer of AI, our mission is really to create a foundational framework that's enabling the universally accessible AI landscape to people.
Please.
Hey guys, I'm Joshua here. So I'm the founder of RHS3. We've been here since 2021. We've been advocating for open web, and of course, OpenAI is one of the most important parts of our job. Basically, what we do regarding OpenAI is just open data, open models, and of course, open frameworks. And I think one of the frameworks that we have is called OpenAgent. It's currently actually used by a lot of different products to build on-chain agents. And at the same time, we do gather, reprocess, and abstract data from mostly Web3 and open protocols and for training usages and different stuff. So that's basically about us.
Excellent, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Yu Hu. I'm the founder of Kaito AI. I've been around since 2021. Before that, I was a trader at Citadel for my career. The reason why I started Kaito AI was because I was just kind of doing research on the side on crypto stuff, and I realized that information is extremely fragmented. Most of this stuff is unindexed by a traditional search engine such as Google, so I started building a search engine, and that is Kaito AI. Today, we power somewhere between 400 to 500 different teams in crypto, either on the research and trading side or kind of on the protocol side. And we are actually now also kind of doing a lot of research on the decentralized AI side and also kind of a user-owned data side of things as well, which is also part of the reason why, if you think about unique positioning, we are an AI company but serving crypto audience. So naturally, we want to bring the best of both worlds to be solving some of the unique challenges. Happy to share more.
Okay. Lukas, please.
Hello everyone, my name is Lukas. I'm part of the founding team of Nillion, and my main focus at Nillion at the moment is the external side, so source, curate, support companies as they start building on the Nillion network. My journey with Nillion started obviously at the beginning 3 years ago. It was actually during a time where I finished up my degree at Cambridge University. I did a couple of other degrees during that time in the UK, and I got fascinated by the potential with Nillion to fundamentally change the way we secure data and fundamentally change the way we process information and bring back control of very sensitive information with the same principles as Bitcoin and crypto started, right, of self-sovereignty, trustlessness, and decentralization. For the last 3 years, we have been working really hard in building out what we call Nillion's blind computation network. Blind computation, as the name implies, is essentially a decentralized network of nodes who are all blind, right? They don't see what they store, nor do they see what they process. And the way we achieve that is through different privacy-enhancing technologies, such as multi-party computation and others, to create fundamentally new design space and infrastructure for the crypto space and beyond. On our testnet, we have seen really exciting implementations already, ranging from healthcare, like genomics analysis, to self-sovereign data sharing use cases, DeFi use cases, AI use cases, and many others.
Thank you so much for that. So my first question to the panel is, yesterday Ilya said NEAR is the home for user-owned AI data. And maybe please could you reflect some thoughts on why privacy is becoming so important these days, and we're hearing again and again about privacy, breach of data. When you actually train an AI system, there are attacks on the systems, and then the data is being, taken out, etc. Why can't I just give my data to, these big corporations, Microsoft, Apple, Meta, etc., and trust them, and then they seem to, maybe use it. So is it something? Should I trust these big companies? And we are now in this Web3 Near conference. Maybe could you please comment on why privacy is so important? Why we should own the data to the audience, please? To you, please.
When it comes to privacy, there are two types of privacies. And a lot of times I think crypto space definitely talk a lot on the user privacy, individual privacy side. But also enterprise privacy is another type of privacy that matters a lot right now. And I think the privacy become more like a real thing, especially after Gen AI. Recently, I don't know if you guys saw the top 10 emerging tech that's published by World Economic Forum. The second one is actually privacy enhancing technology that enable the global collaborations at scale, and specifically it's about data. So a little bit, I think why this really become a thing is, think about Gen AI now, it's become almost like a blind box where all the data can be put inside and help increase the performance and the power of a model without being noticing that the data is going into the model. So in that way, now we are actually the first time on the same side with enterprise as users, because everybody now is afraid that their data is going to be, stolen in some way in this process of building AI. So that's why I think from the very beginning, users always is concerned about some of their sensitive information is stolen or leaked in the process. I think plenty of people can talk about that in the group. But also now, I just really want to emphasize, we are in a very good position at the moment because everybody care, not only individuals, but enterprise care as well now.
Joshua, your thoughts, please.
I think there are two parts when it comes to data privacy, especially with AI models. First is about safety. So there are certain data that's kind of really private to yourself, right? And I want to make sure that, let's just say an AI model doesn't access that, doesn't know something that it's not supposed to know about yourself. And or it shouldn't be helping someone else to do malicious things to you, right? Because they if the AI model was trained somehow with some kind of sensitive data that might work not so good on your part.
Right.
So safety is one thing, but I think of course people have been focusing a lot more about fairness or distribution of rewards stuff, right? If you look at ChatGPT, as they state on the website, it says it's trained with publicly available information on the internet. And when it comes to public information, there are a lot of stuff that's, in a way, it should be belongs to you somehow. They might not access that data as pure public data, right? We can't ensure something like that. So when they're making billions of dollars out of your data, we're going to make sure that this is fair, right?
Correct.
So I think two parts, safety and fairness is the sort of like the core key here for data privacy, and especially in AI.
Yuhu, your thoughts?
Yeah, maybe I just chime in here. So obviously I'm going to touch on the privacy side of things. But if I think about the data ownership part, I really think about two parts. One is privacy. The other one is the ownership part that leads to monetization and actually owning the data and all the economic benefits coming from the data as well. So maybe just using our own example. So today we power all these clients, and a lot of our clients are really care about, hey, like for example, we have a co-pilot feature within Kaito that people can ask any questions, get an answer from any specific crypto perspectives. And people are really concerned that, hey, like when I ask a question, do you store the data? Does ChatGPT, for example, store the data? To put things into context, we do serve some of the very sensitive entities, such as all the listing teams at every single exchange, or the trading firms who doesn't want to disclose what kind of tickets and topics that they're currently researching before anyone front runs them. So essentially, people are really concerned, in terms of where the data is being stored, who has access to the data, whether it's going to be, going to be retrained, all that kind of stuff. Currently, there's no very, very good solution apart from just basically just having a goodwill and good faith in terms of all these, either Kaito side, obviously, but also the ChatGPT side or whatever the kind of the endpoints that people are having, without compromising, obviously, the performance side of things. You can obviously host data and compute and all that kind of stuff. But currently, I think that is a pain point. The other thing I'm going to share is on the monetization side of things. There's also a rising awareness in terms of whether I can actually make money off my data. Right. Obviously, there's a whole whole range of discussions after ChatGPT came out, and then people are, a lot of the content creators are saying that, hey, like, you're not paying me for my data. Nowadays, I would say that in the model training part is actually pretty difficult because the attribution side of things, but actually nowadays even on the search engine side of things, right? So when people are giving you links, when let's say that even for our example, when we index people's data and these data are public, can we actually reward these people? Rather than kind of paying, for example, X and some of the other platforms, we can actually reward these users ourselves. At the same time, a lot of the new protocols that actually come out and start rewarding some of the content creators as well. For example, Eigenlayer just did a season 2 airdrop that actually reward all the content creators who have been talking about Eigenlayer. So I think this is a new method in terms of all these public data that's directly attributable. You can actually, as user, as content creator, you can actually own the data, and then you can actually get monetize on the data and actually own the economic benefits of the data. But obviously in a privacy preserved way, which is very key, because a lot of the people don't want to link their social identity with their on-chain wallet address.
Lukas, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of good points have been made already, but just to build on that, I mean, every single time we interact with AI today, we merely get a lot of very sensitive information, right? Whenever we train those systems and whenever we run those systems. And that's, of course, a big deal for enterprise. Whenever you're sending sensitive information, company-specific information, confidential information to these proprietary AI models, you have to trust these companies that they don't share the data, they don't misuse the data, they don't exploit the data. And that's a trust assumption that empirically enterprises are not willing to take easily. But at the same time, we see on the user retail side that in an age of personalized AI, where we are about to create our personalized agents for pretty much every single task, agents that know us better than we know ourselves, we have to share and sacrifice a tremendous amount of incredibly sensitive information, right? Our healthcare records, our hobbies, our messages, our sleep data, our nutritional data. That's a level of sensitivity that we have never seen before like this in the history of humanity, I would argue. Yes, we have seen sensitive data being shared maybe over the last 15, 20 years, but this is a degree that goes way beyond what we've seen so far. And I think to enable such a future, to enable the benefits of such a future, we need to create new infrastructure that fundamentally preserves privacy of users, whilst at the same time enable them to use the benefits of all these tools. And the last point around some of the training aspects as well, when you train these models, if we look at the amount of data that was used to train, for instance, ChatGPT or Llama and the likes, and then we look at all the private sensitive data that sits on the edge still with us as users, but also with enterprises, then it becomes very obvious that to train the next generation of models, we need more probably than just public data and synthetic data derived from the public data, which means we need to tap into private data. And to tap into private data, particularly on the enterprise side, we need privacy-enhancing technologies where enterprises can make sure that the data always remains private, but nonetheless they can utilize that data, train models, and subsequently use those models to generate the next generation of intelligence.
Yeah. Thank you, Lukas, for that. So my next question to the panel is, which are the industries you think are really in the most urgent need of this privacy? Is it healthcare, or is it defense, is it finance? And what are the best practices you think, in your view, to process the data securely? You have federated learning approach, blind storage that Lukas mentioned, and then zero knowledge based techniques. So maybe let's start with you. maybe you want to comment on, enterprise or private, which one, which industry, what are the, your top picks on how to process the data securely, please.
Yeah, it's actually funny that most of the industries you mentioned are more or less, so we have customers there. So except defense, but I'm not going to be surprised if one day
Sure.
land some of the customers there. But I think one example, I definitely think like a healthcare, financial too, both of the industry will be highly sensitive in terms of the information, what they want to share. And actually, according to, like Lukas mentioned, I really love the comment on we need to tap into the private data. If we, like do the math, GPT-4 is only trained on 1 petabyte data, but JP Morgan alone have 150 petabyte data in-house. But how can we really help them to, like unlock the data power?
Right.
That's another thing. So it goes to some of the best practice we observed in the market and what some of the techniques we are adapting in-house. When it comes to privacy, there's two types of privacy we're talking about. The storage privacy, the data privacy, and the compute privacy. So for the compute privacy here, right now, actually T is becoming more ready in production.
Right.
So a few weeks ago, we did another benchmark testing on running a Llama 3 on top of a H100, actually just one H100 with a T. The performance is only 10 to 30% worse than without T. So actually it's getting very, getting much better than before. That's the compute privacy side. And the data privacy side, I think Nillion is definitely using some of the very good tools like MPC and also like a data privacy encryption, such as like at rest for data storage and in motion for streaming data processing. Those are all good. And FHE is not in production ready phase yet because we did the test, but we felt like it's getting closer. And the last thing is Google DeepMind actually has done a lot of work, such as like dLocal and dPico. That is really slice the data and compute into a lot of smaller components. And that's actually what really enable what we call decentralized training and decentralized fine-tuning. That's what become more like a reality in the future. But a lot of those are really something we adopt, something we're still seeing how it goes. And for example, when it comes to the medical customers we're working with, ironically, they don't even like any of them. They just straight say, no data go out. It stay all locally with us. Yeah. So what we have to do is, in the end of the day, help them to, because we're building this universal framework. So in the end of the day, they are hosting their data in-house, but we help a foundation model provider to deploy the model into a T and train and fine-tune the model on top of the secretive or like the confidential medical data those people have. And the benefits here is now the medical data provider is not afraid that the data is not going out. And also but the foundation model owner now is not afraid their model weight is going to be stolen in this process because everything is encrypted in or like protected in the T environment. So it's a both side happy. And in the end of the day, the final model is being used by some of the Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah, sure, please, over to you.
It seems pretty hard to say like which industry or which particular project or companies that does the best, right?
Yeah.
A lot of things are happening in healthcare, in finance, a lot of different things happening in crypto as well. I'll just share a little bit about what we work on.
Please.
I mean, like more related to publishing content, this kind of stuff. I think if you look at traditionally in Web 1, Web 2 era, this kind of privacy is in a way protected by a centralized agency, right? If you want to say, okay, I'm gonna send out a Facebook post or a Twitter post that's only available to a particular kind of viewers or audience, then that company's gonna handle it for you, right? They promise you that they're gonna handle it well, but of course their people can somehow see it, and also if they do things not the right way they should be, then there's gonna be bad things happening. So I think one of the things that we have been advocating for is open information, right? Open web and open information. But at the same time, when we advocate for open, we also advocate for strong privacy stuff or like strong privacy posting. That's basically enforced by encryption, right? If you actually post something that's encrypted, if you know that when you post something on an open framework that would be in a way accessed by other people freely, and there's no centralized agency protecting you, or you know, then you're going to be more careful, right? In a way, then you somehow have to make sure that your data is encrypted, right? Even though in a public space, you want to make sure that you know that specific people or like that specific group of audience will be the only ones that will access that.
Please, your thoughts.
Yeah, so I think maybe I'll just share some of the experiences and conversations that we've been having. Personally, if you look at the spectrum of all the enterprises versus all the consumers, I would think that all the enterprises are going to be the first adopters, just because typically enterprises care a lot more about privacy than the end consumers. And this could be a take that some of you guys may disagree, but this is kind of just based on my conversations and observations as well. And then within the enterprise part, my personal prediction is the entities that are closest to money, i.e. finance, will be the first adopters, because there's a very, very clear ROI in terms of, hey, if I adopt this, then that's going to be X productivity boost, it's going to be X return. If I don't adopt this because of privacy concerns, all that kind of stuff, I need to hire 5 more people or 10 more people essentially doing the same minute job versus some of our competitors. So I think that's a very, very clear value proposition, as is all kind of the same conversation that we've been having with our clients. Everyone essentially wants us to be tapping into their private data, you know, all the stack data, all the Notion data, basically all the private data that's stored on their third-party softwares, to be able to have the same data ingestion that they can essentially leverage. But privacy is currently the biggest concern. It's a 0 versus 1 decision in their mind.
So which industry, Lukas, Nillion is focusing on? Is it finance, defense, healthcare, or any industry? Can you reflect on the conversation, please, with the...
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's just the one or the other. I think, and obviously all the industries that are dealing with sensitive information are generally very when it comes to potential leakage of information. I very much agree with a lot of points you just brought up there. I mean, obviously healthcare is one of the strongest ones, because we're dealing with, you know, DNA information, or even like if it's not DNA information, very sensitive healthcare information. And using AI that gives you tips and feedback of how you live your life, that's obviously a level of sensitivity that you don't necessarily want to share with anyone. And healthcare does as a consequence is a big one. Financial services equally, like having agents where they can actually know you really well, know you better than you know yourself, what's your risk appetite and everything else, and then subsequently be able to execute trades. That taps into a level of sensitivity to evaluate your risk appetite and the likes, which is very important to protect, right? So financial services, healthcare are obvious choices, but the reality is even agents that are more user-focused rather than enterprise-focused, like relationship advisors, right, and the likes. I do think I'm more optimistic that users start caring about privacy in that aspect, because, again, the last 15 years, one may argue that the one or the other might not have cared that much about it, but I think now when we enter the territory of relationship advisors, financial advisors and the likes, this is a level of sensitivity of your data that we have, as I said before, never seen before, and I think privacy as a consequence will become incredibly important. Last point on the technology side, the different technologies, there's the cryptography-based technologies like MPC and fully homomorphic encryption. They arguably are the most secure ones because it's cryptography-based. There isn't the single point of failure there, but it's true that sometimes the performance doesn't necessarily yet achieve what needs to be achieved. And at the same time, then we have trusted execution environments, which I mentioned, which are on the hardware side. What gets me very excited is having the modular choice to orchestrate between different privacy and technologies, because there's no one size fits all. All of them have different strengths. All of them have different weaknesses. And being able to enable developers to build applications that can tap into the right privacy and technology for the right use case, that's very powerful. And I think new design space that will unlock a lot of new exciting use cases going forward for every user, for every application that have different requirements.
Yeah, just want to add that Near announced yesterday they want to use 1.6 trillion, 1.4 trillion parameter data, where you can train your own model with 500 million. And some of the technologies to use distributed learning is not even available. One of the papers from Google DeepMind actually coming on your point, mentions that some of the privacy computing text is not even there. So there's a lot we look forward to, hearing from you and reading your research going forward. So with this, I conclude. Let's thank the panel. Thank you very much for engaging conversation. Really appreciate it. Thank you.